Okay, the last thing we're going to do for week 11 of Sound Advanced Topics 2, my graduate seminar, I'm Brad, is our last video, video 7. We're going to build a standalone app, and we're going to build it out of that little keyboard sphere thing that we just finished. Turns out that this is actually ridiculously easy to do. Let me bring up the Unity project of that. There we go. There's our finished kind of editor with all the things in line. Here's how you build an app out of it. Go to File and then go to Build Settings. Now, you'll see there's Scenes in Build. You can add open scenes, or you can actually go down to your scenes and drag them in from there if you have many more scenes. Essentially, that's all you have to do. There's one other thing, and there is one trick that I'm going to show you later for doing work with sounds that we're importing, is you might want to check your player settings, okay? And this is where you can get fairly complicated if you want. There's all kinds of settings for kind of setting it up for Macintoshes, App Store, and things like that, other settings. You can set the splash image if you want, you'll see that. But the main thing to check for is the XR settings. If you intend for this to be used with Vive or Oculus or other virtual reality goggles, you'll have to check that, all right? But we're not in this case. We're just going to go with it as it is. So we go back to our build settings. We've got our scenes in the build. And then all you do is say build. And it'll say, where do you want to put the app? Let's put it on our desktop, and we'll just call it kiosk.app for fun. So we'll say save, and now it'll start to build it. Now, this can take a fair amount of time if you have a fairly complicated thing that you've done. In this case, it wasn't very complicated at all, and it's finished. Okay, so let's close this off, hide this, and here's our kiosk.app, and if we run it, it actually should run. So let's double click on it. Whoa, there's our splash screen. It's made with Unity. Whoa, there's our spheres. Let's go over here and set up our keyboard so we can start doing it. I'll bring up my little screen here. And now, oops, yeah, if we play, and we go over to the running, yay! It's actually a standalone app, and it's running. Okay, so that's that. Now, the other thing is you have to hit Command Q to quit it, which we just did. Now, I want to show you one thing that's a little bit weird. Don't need me anymore. Let's go back to our Unity editor. Just for fun, you probably didn't see this, but I put in a folder called Sounds. We're not using this folder, and we're not actually using any samples or anything like this, but in this folder I just put my dog barking. Here's the thing that's weird. When Unity built that app, it did not include that folder from your assets. So what you're going to have to do on Macintoshes is hit Control-click and say Show Package Contents. And in the contents, you're going to have to go back to this app. You're going to have to find, here it is, go to your assets, find that sounds folder, and if you want it to be included in the finished app, you're going to have to copy it over to that contents. Now you have to do a similar thing on Windows, where you have to copy the app into the top level of the Windows application that gets built. Windows application will build, obviously, a .exe file that's down inside a folder that you can build a link to. Yeah, it all works. But I don't know why, but they don't include the sounds. So if I was accessing this lucher441.wave in my finished app, I'd have to go back and fix it somehow by hand. But that's all there is to it. You can add your own icon to it. You can rename it. You can do whatever you want. And essentially, you've created a standalone app in Unity. And that's the end.